You guys, I've had so much caffeine today. Are you playing footsie with me? What are you doing?
I feel like I have the...
She's putting her foot up my pants.
I feel like I have those socks too.
They're the great.
Oh, okay.
Sarah Wayne Callies, you will know her from Prison Break.
You will?
The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead.
There's Lori.
Yeah. The Company You Keep. She has a podcast, Prison Breaking, with Sarah and Paul. It's their rewatch of Prison Break.
It is.
It is.
This isn't a lie.
Oh.
It is not a lie. I don't know where I just went. Let's have Sarah join us, please, so I stop talking. Welcome. You guys start talking. I'm just looking at something.
Oh, she's tweaking on the... Well, because one time we were left in charge and then her whole video was out of focus and we couldn't even use it. So,
oh God.
But you get it. You have a podcast.
Well, our podcast this season is audio only.
I noticed.
And so we're actually looking at like, if we do season 2, what does it take to do the video component?
Yes.
Because it's like a whole level of
other stuff.
I mean, we're now in this world where we don't just have to like act, produce, direct, and write. We also have to like be DPs and set up lighting and sound equipment. And there comes a certain point where my brain just hits overload.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have kids.
Right.
Yeah. And right now I feel like I have 7 of them. There's only 2, but they're just at the times in their lives where they take up as much space as all 7 dwarves. And so
how old are they?
There's 16 and 10.
Oh, yes.
Holy crap.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are ages.
In it. Constant.
Those are ages. But I got to tell you, it's also amazing because they're people with opinions and ideas, and they feel differently and think differently than I do. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but actually the baby years.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, this is great. Like now that we're people, I'm like, oh my God, I could do this all day. Like we can talk about the things that you think in the world and what are you reading and what are you seeing and what are you marching for and what's making you fired up. And that's, you know, I think this is what I had kids for, these ages now.
Oh, that's really cool.
Really cool.
So I have 2 sons, and I got to tell you, if you can plan not to have 2 boys.
I have 2 boys.
Dude, it's so much work.
It's so much.
I tell you what, I let my husband off the hook as soon as I had a son. Because I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things about you that I thought were a choice. And they're not a choice. This is how you guys come baked.
Yes.
So we're good. You can't control these things about yourself.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Do you talk openly about the adoption?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my son is Black, and so it would be somewhat
it
silly if we
it'd
did.
Be really sus. Yeah. It'd be like, but you've been married for so long.
It might seem silly, although we have a sense of humor about everything in our family, and that's kind of how we deal with things. And so every now and again, someone will say to my oldest kid, oh my gosh, you look so much like your dad. And I'll say, yeah, but isn't it great that Oaks looks so much like me? And then everyone gets quiet for a minute. And you're like, this is humor. This is okay. You find out what kind of a room you're in.
Oh, yeah.
Do I leave this room or stay in this room?
Yeah, are we 100%. Cool? Like, could I be friends with you, or this is just DOA?
Exactly. Are we allies here, or no? Okay, bye-bye.
Oh my gosh. Well, amazing. So the adoption process, like you were wanting a second kid, was it you were always drawn to adoption, or was there other reasons, or how did that come about?
You know, my husband and I met in university, and so we've been together forever, and we always sort of talked about, this sounds, to be fair, when we had this conversation, we were like 20 and 22, but it's also still kind of, there's a lot of people on the planet, and the planet's maybe growing more people than we can sustain. And we thought, well, I'm an only child, and I was like, I kind of like the idea of siblings, because there were things that felt lonely to me growing up. And I was like, I'd like to do siblings. And So our plan was to have one and adopt one. So that was always a part of the plan. But then also, after my pregnancy, I got nailed with a kind of postpartum depression that I honestly didn't know existed.
Wow.
And so it was probably 2 years before I kind of like moved through that. And the idea of risking that with a second pregnancy didn't feel like even a safe move.
Safe, yeah.
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 But that's good parenting.
I mean, I will say it was such a joy with my son when he was born to be like, oh, this is what people talk about, these early days. And, you know, because I'd gone through this whole relactation protocol, so there was a little bit of hormone stuff involved, but I was not exhausted and out of my mind with like the hormone dump and, you know, just the way that you come into those first couple weeks of motherhood when you do it the old-fashioned way. It was so beautiful to be able to be present.
That's
Right.
incredible.
Yeah. It's so interesting with postpartum depression because there's no real rhyme or reason, or you might not even deal with anything like that prior, and then it kind of just happens, which is so interesting to me because I know people where it's like one kid it happened, the other it didn't, and you don't see it coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's not like, oh, if you just experience that, you're always going to experience that.
I guess that makes sense.
From story,
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I only have one daughter, so I only did it once, and, you know, it was good, like, for me, but it's just interesting how you hear stories, and you just wonder, like, what happens in the body, or, you know, hormones, or in the mind, like, what causes it, and I don't think they know, right?
I mean, I have no idea. All I know is even the pregnancies for me were different.
Right.
Like one pregnancy, I felt amazing. The second one, I was so sick and depressed. And like, I prepared myself for postpartum because I suffer from depression in general. So I was terrified. I was like, So I was like, they're like, if you eat your placenta, I was like, give it to me, feed it to me. Like, I'll eat your placenta.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
And did it work?
I didn't get postpartum depression with my first. I did with my second, and I didn't eat the placenta. But I didn't just like gnaw on it like a cheeseburger.
Pills, yeah.
You know,
you didn't
they
like eat it right out of the uterus.
Yeah. They dehydrated it and put it in pills.
Yeah.
And I didn't get depression with the first one, but I got severe postpartum anxiety.
I actually think that's a better word for what no one knows what postpartum anxiety is unless you've had it.
Right.
But I think that's a better word for what I had, because I remember I would wake up. I mean, first of all, my first baby never took a bottle. So every single feeding that was until solid food was me. There was no break. And for people who haven't done it, it's just kind of hard to, like, you're talking about sustaining an entire human life for 4 months without help. And it's sort of nuts. And of course, I don't know about you guys, but like the whole lactation process in my mind was like a Disney movie. And it was like, except that this was the part of the Disney movie where they like shoot Bambi's mom. Like, it was so tough and so painful. And so, but I thought, like, doves light out your shoulders and butterflies fly and you do this and it's great, it's natural. And then you're 5 days in and you're like, I'm failing, everything hurts.
Yeah.
How is this going on? And I remember I would wake up, feed the baby, change the baby, put the baby back to bed, and then not be able to sleep because I would go, I'm going to have to do this again in 2.5 hours and I'm going to die. And that, I think anxiety is a much better, because I couldn't relax.
Your nervous system is fucked. Like, it feels like, to me, when people my cousin just had a baby and I was like, oh, forgot to tell you, like, it feels like you went to war. Like, you're literally, and she was like, why doesn't anyone tell you this? And I'm like, I don't know. We don't want to scare you, but like, it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
You have this human that it's the scariest sensation in the world, to give you something so precious and little and be like, keep it alive. And it needs this amount of food. And if your body doesn't make, like, and then sleep and then eat and then make sure that you have enough milk, and like, it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
At least
the
for
point
me,
at
it
which
was.
your body has been put through more than your body has ever been put through
Sure.
in your life. Like I was 29 when I got pregnant. I was like, natural childbirth, let's do this. It'll be fine. So I had a midwife assisted home birth, and
Oh, wow.
it went well. Like, I mean, we all survived it. And, like it was great to wake up the next morning and be like, I'm in my own bed. But, I mean, halfway through, I went to the medicine chest, like I'm on a ship.
You're like, yeah, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
I rode my horse in my bonnet. I went to my bathroom and I took 2 extra strength Tylenol because I was in so much pain. And my midwife laughed so hard that she couldn't talk for like a solid minute.
She's like, that's not going to do anything.
No, it's going to help. She's like, you're throwing ping pong balls at a tank. And I was like, okay, well, I'm stuck at home. I'm too far to go to a hospital and there's no epidural. So like, I have to do something. But, it takes forever. And so you come into this new experience with your body going, I'm so tired. I'm in so much pain. I can't necessarily sit up or walk, etc. And I think that really is the time in life where you want to be surrounded by your mom, 5 aunts, 3 sisters.
That's right.
10 female cousins. And I didn't plan for any of that. And that was my fault. Also, this has nothing to do with anything, but it is a bit odd. My dog went into labor the same time I went into labor.
What?
Stop it.
I shit you not, had 8 puppies.
Oh my God.
The day I had my kid, the midwife walks in, looks at this dog in labor and goes, I don't do that. And my husband's like, it's fine. Just deal with my wife. I'll handle the dog. And then the dog had a couple complications. And my husband's on the phone with his dad. And he goes, so, one of the puppies like crawled under the couch and the dog ignored it. What should I do? And my husband's father says, your dog will forgive you if you walk away from her right now. If you don't go sit by your wife's side, she never will. So you leave the dog. You go to the wife. All the puppies were fine. The one baby was fine. I do think my dog was a little judgy. Like,
yeah.
Like 1? You did 1 of those? Oh, I did 8. I'm just saying. But it was a really crazy time in our household. And then our dog, I can't believe I've never talked about any of this.
This is
and
amazing.
then our dog got mastitis. So we had to bottle feed the 8 puppies.
Stop
and that's
it.
when I called my mother-in-law.
no,
and I was like,
no.
I need you here by the end of the day.
Oh.
And she and my father-in-law got on a plane. And honestly, I feel like they showed up 5 minutes later. That's not possible because we live on the west coast of Canada and they live in the east coast of the U.S. And they stayed with us for the next 6 weeks. And I did not cook a meal or do a dish or bottle feed a puppy. It was a wild time.
That is actually incredible.
That's one of the best stories I've ever heard. I've never heard of a dog getting mastitis before.
No.
I didn't even, like, that dog was looking at you like, I want warm soup. Where's my soup? Right?
100%.
Like, yeah.
100%.
Wait, what kind of dog? I have to know. I have to have a visual.
She was a white golden retriever. She was the best. She was amazing. Yeah, and she'd gotten sort of accidentally knocked up when we had left for a weekend to go on a baby moon, and she'd got into heat, and our dog sitter didn't know about the birds and the bees when it came to dogs. And so we came back and we did the math, and we're like, oh my God, we're due the same week.
We're due the same week.
That's really sweet, though. She's
really
like your soul
sweet.
sister.
100%.
Yeah.
We would lie in our last week. We would lie because the kids were all, the puppies, whatever, the litter was born in July. And it was super hot. And we would just lie on the kitchen floor, belly to belly, just like 2 beached whales, being like,
oh my God.
I can't. I'm dying. I can't.
This is a lot.
It's a lot.
This
and
is
so
a
then
lot. Yeah.
my hormones couldn't keep up. And
No.
maybe that's partly why.
Oh my, wait, did you keep a puppy? Because it was the same birthday? These are my questions.
No, totally fair. My midwife had just gone through a terrible divorce. So we sent her home. We're like,
Here you go.
Puppy is ready, you get the pick of the litter. So she took the biggest, strongest boy she could find. She's like, I'm replacing this stupid man with a truly loyal, beautiful puppy.
Aw.
And we didn't have room for another dog because we had this obviously brand new baby, but my husband's best friend flew up actually from Texas and one of the puppies home with him.
That's nice.
So we sort of kept the line in the family.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't keep the puppy.
No, I was just thinking, you can't take you just had a baby.
Of course and a baby at the same time.
Puppy.
No.
That would be crazy.
It was a lot. But the Christmas card that year was our like 3-month-old surrounded by 8 puppies. And I was like,
really cute.
I don't think I've sent a Christmas card since. I was like, that's it. I'm dropping the mic on Christmas cards. It'll never be better than this. Goodbye.
That is the best story.
It really is. And it makes me think like, it's like you needed that anxiety to protect you from that happening again. You know what I mean?
Possibly.
It was like, this cannot happen again, right?
It was a lot. So how did you move through yours then? Like, what was your process to get to the other side of it? Zoloft. Okay.
Like, it got to the point I tried on my own and I did everything under the moon. And then I'm sober and it was getting really close to me drinking. And I was like, oh, this is actually very dangerous. This isn't safe. This isn't a safe level of OCD and anxiety and all that stuff. So my doctor was like, you need to go on medicine. And I did. And within 2 weeks, I felt safe again.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm okay. Like, I can do this. And support, a lot of support. Like Rachel was there right in the beginning, like best friends, family, mom, all the support possible. But not everybody gets that. So I realized I was really lucky. But then with the second kid, it was worse. It was the depression. So like it's tricky. And I wonder, like, does our body do that to like protect us for a certain amount of time to not get pregnant so fast? Because there's always a reason.
That's a really interesting theory. It prevents you from
wanting
doubling down on the kind of hormones or anything. I mean, like anything. No, I mean, it's a good question. I feel like I recently read that the FDA just approved a drug that you can take for postpartum depression, that it's designed
really
for PPD, and that you can we should look more deeply into this, but it's something like you take it for 4 days.
Oh, and wow.
I think it's all about like rebalancing your hormones, because I remember I was too scared I didn't tell anyone, right? So like, we're actors. So I was like, I'm going to act fine because I'm so ashamed of how I'm feeling. I see how happy my husband is. I see how happy my in-laws are, and all of, we'd also just moved to a new country. I didn't have a big community, but like everyone is over the moon about this baby. And I had nothing but love for the baby, but I woke up every day and prayed to die. I was like, they will all be better off without me. I am terrible at this. The best thing that can happen to this child is for me to not fuck them up.
Yeah.
And but I was so afraid that if I said that to anybody, your brain isn't like exactly a rational place at the time. So I was like, A, I'll be institutionalized and I'll spend the rest of my life in Bellevue. I don't know why I was worried about that. I don't live in New York. Or B, my husband will leave me because he'll be like, you're a fucking monster. How could you not be happy right now? Like, I had all of these fears. So it was like a year and a half later, and I was going in, my neck went out, and I have a buddy who's a chiropractor. And he's also like just kind of a genius. He's does sports medicine and acupuncture and Chinese medicine. He lectures all over the world in like 3 languages. And he takes a look at me and he's like, what's going on with you? And I was like, nothing, I'm fine. And he was like, uh-huh. And he's like, you're crying. And I had no idea. I'm sobbing. I had no idea. So he does the thing where they take your pulses and look at your tongue. And he just looks at me and he goes, oh, Sarah, why didn't you tell me sooner?
You're making me cry.
I had kind of thought like, this is the rest of my life. Like this is every day. It's been 18 months. This is not going to change. 4 weeks after he puts me on this regimen of like, you're going to take these herbs, you're going to take these supplements, I'm going to stick needles in you. 4 weeks later, I was better.
Wow.
What?
A week later, I started to feel the fog lift. Do you know what I mean? Where like, it's like the mental illness is like this. It's like somebody just puts horse blinders on you.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you just start to see a little light under the bottom, you're like, oh, there's the potential for healing.
Right.
And I couldn't believe how fast it could be addressed. And he was like, this is just an imbalance. And it's an imbalance that some people's bodies fix on their own and some people's bodies aren't. But it was so simple to him.
What did he put you
on? There were a bunch of herbs that I'll be honest were like,
who knows?
Chinese writing on the, and I know Chinese isn't a language. I couldn't even tell if it was Mandarin or Cantonese, but it was not in a language that I speak.
Right.
He put me on calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, the basic, like, take them every day if you're a woman stuff.
Yep.
He did a lot of kidney. He's like, your adrenals are toast because you've been in fight or flight forever. We did a lot of rebalancing of that. And this is also now like 15 and a half years ago.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
So it was a while.
It's just fascinating. Like anyone that's dealt with depression, whether it's postpartum or just generalized
good
depression.
Good old-fashioned depression.
Garden variety.
The medicine chest, got to go to that one.
The craziest thing is that like that a hormone can create the voice that says I should die. Right? And then you balance that, and that it's like nothing changes, but that voice is gone. What a miracle. And there's so many people that are chasing that voice and they think that that's how they have to live. Like you were saying, like, this is me. It doesn't have to be. Like there is miracles for that voice to just take pause.
Broad Ideas is supported by Blissy. Who knew that a better pillowcase is all you need for better sleep? Let's talk about practicing self-care while you sleep. Set yourself up with better sleep with Blissy's award-winning 100% mulberry silk pillowcases. Seriously, silk is what's best for your hair and skin. It reduces frizz, tangles, and prevents breakage. That's because it keeps the moisture in your hair and keeps your skincare products and natural moisture on your skin, while cotton literally absorbs it off of your face. Say goodbye to wrinkles, dry, flaky, and red skin in the morning and wake up with healthier and shinier hair. Everybody loves them. They have a ton of different prints and colors, and they make great gifts because there's an option for literally anyone. Men love them too. They have over 1 million raving fans, and you could be next. Try now risk-free for 60 nights at blissy.com/Rachel and get an additional 30% off. That's BLISSY.com/Rachel and use code Rachel to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. I thank my Blissy pillowcases every night because I can go to sleep with my natural hair, not blow-dried, and I don't wake up with frizz. Thank you, Blissy. Support for Broad Ideas comes from Posh Peanut. Your kids grow fast, but that doesn't mean they have to outgrow their favorite items after only a few months. Posh Peanut gets it, which is why they make super stretchy and colorful clothes that seem to grow with your child. So you'll get longer wear out of those adorable styles. Posh Peanut makes thoughtfully crafted, beautiful and stylish clothing for kids and families, designed in-house from beautiful florals to your favorite brands such as Hot Wheels, Disney, Hello Kitty, and Barbie. Their pieces are made with ridiculously soft viscose from bamboo that stays soft even after you wash them over and over again. And their high-quality fabric is 4 times stretchier than cotton, so it grows with your child. It's also breathable and chemical-free, which means they are delicate on your baby's sensitive skin. And Posh Peanut is loved by over 1 million parents and also adored by all your favorite celebrities and influencers. We can't say their names, but if you know, you know. Right now, Posh Peanut is offering our listeners 20% off your first order with promo code BROAD. Go to poshpeanut.com/broad and use promo code BROAD for 20% off your first order. That's poshpeanut.com/broad, promo code BROAD.
Well, and you say something really interesting, which is you think that the voice is you.
Right.
I was convinced that this is my voice, and learning to separate that voice, even just the negative voice that comes up on a regular basis, learning to separate that voice from my understanding of myself has been really critical for like life in every act. To be honest, everything. Because I think being a parent, you end up confronting the parts of yourself that you're like, ooh, I really don't want to pass this on.
Right.
And so starting to learn to make friends with that voice and parts of that voice, I think, are really important, but also recognizing it's not me.
Right. God, it's so interesting. When you were saying before your baby didn't take a bottle and it created this anxiety and whatever. And, I always think about my baby because she never took a bottle. It was only boob forever. I would always tell people, like, if I didn't have her in bed with me, like we co-slept, she was in my bed. If I didn't have that, I think I would have suffered massively.
Interesting.
Anxiety, depression, but she was right there because it was constant.
Right.
You don't sleep. It's like, okay, it's going to happen again in 2 hours, but she was just there. So I would just roll over. She has some, whatever. If you have to get up, you get up. But like having her there was my personal saving grace. And I know there's a lot of, opinions on babies in beds and whatnot and whatever, but that saved me.
We don't like
That's
opinions.
really interesting.
We're done with opinions.
Well, and also like small PSA to anybody out there who's thinking of having a baby. It's also great.
Yes.
Not trying to chase you off of this, but I did become one of those people who, like, anybody I knew who got pregnant, I was like, we're going to talk about postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're 3 months post, and I'm just going to check in on you. And, because I didn't know anything about it. Nobody talked about it. I was the first one in my friend group to have a kid. And so I was like, I want everybody to know it's okay. It's treatable.
That's right.
It's treatable within the framework, everything from Zoloft to acupuncture. Like,
yes,
you can, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, there is a way of addressing this that is achievable. And we just have to keep talking about it until everybody feels like they can ask for help, I think.
And take away the stigma. That's exactly why we find it so important, because I feel like once you just kind of say it, then everybody around you start, oh yeah, my cousin or my aunt or my, it's like, it doesn't matter what it is. No matter what it is that we think we need to hide, whether due to shame or guilt or wanting to, put on a good face, the minute we just say it, it's like, oh yeah, me too. And then you get that medicine of comfort of like, oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that is the lie of mental illness, that you're alone.
That's it.
Yeah. Right.
And you will always be alone and you can't get through this. And that, I think, as soon as we pierce through that and go, you're not alone. There are 1,000 people standing in the room with you right now.
Yep.
That starts to really make a difference.
I read the other day, and I don't know if this is true because I question it, but it said that it was like scientists are now saying 40% of people don't have an inner monologue. And I was like, wait, what?
Are they all Tibetan Buddhists?
Like, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, hold on, I thought this was the human experience. And they did research, and this is what I found fascinating. That when they studied it, they saw there was a bunch of people that were followed, and they didn't have an inner monologue until they hit trauma.
What?
Whoa.
Yes. And I was like, oh, maybe that's why I've always had one. But I was like, did they not have it, or were they just not aware of it? Like, because to me, if you hit any sort of anxiety, depression, mental illness, you become aware there's a voice inside of you that lies all the time, right?
Right.
I mean, I feel like it's been there my whole life.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I don't understand.
I want to do more research on this because I find it absolutely fascinating, and I want to talk to everyone possible and be like, "Do you have an inner monologue?" Like,
yeah,
I know you do, because you're
but like, what's it like not to like?
Right.
That's I almost want to ask my husband.
Do you think maybe he doesn't?
Maybe because he's
present?
very in the present,
And
he's very. He also like if he thinks it, he says it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
But there's not like early in our relationship. I was like, I wonder if there's some deep, abiding whatever that he's thinking and not sharing with me. No, probably not. You know, and which is not like he's ferociously intelligent and super sophisticated in his thinking, but I don't think he has that like constant running commentary.
That's so interesting.
It sounds so nice.
So
my
nice.
God.
So it sounds great.
Oh my God. It sounds wonderful.
And they interviewed this mom, and she was like, no, like I was so present with what I had because I had kids early, and it was like getting this done and getting that done, and there was no past and there was no future. There was just, and then trauma hit, and then she became aware of a voice, but she didn't think it happened until then. And they're learning more about this. I would love to learn more about this because I find it fascinating. Like with your husband, you guys have been together for so long.
So long.
So long.
So long. I was 19 when we met, and I'm 46 now. So long.
Dude. And in this business, that is remarkable.
Yeah.
He's not in the business, which helps, but
It does.
But yeah, it's nuts. I had a meeting with a couple earlier today, an actor I've known forever, and I just met his wife because we're looking at developing a project together. And I was like, when did you guys meet? They were like 3rd grade. I was like, what? And they're like, no, we didn't start dating until we were 16. I was like, oh, well then.
Oh,
like,
well, okay.
And they've got kids in their late teens. Like these two are in their 50s. And I was like, you don't hear about that anymore. And I was like, okay, what's the secret? And they're like, it's nothing. We're best friends. I was like, all right, well.
I know, because they always ask like Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick. They're like, how are you still together? You know, and they're like, I don't know. We like each other, I guess. You know?
Think, Sosie said they said we just never have gotten divorced.
That's like, or their daughter, yeah.
You know?
Their daughter
She's like,
did
we
say
just
that to us.
stay together. We've just never broken up.
I'm like, that's one option.
It is one option. I small thing. My very first job, Kira was on a show that Kira was on. And this is in New York, and it would have been 2002. And I remember, like, you know, I just met her. We were in hair and makeup. And I was like, do you have kids? And she goes, yeah, I do. And I feel like we've had them for so long. And I thought about that the other day because I think my kids are about the age that her kids were around then. And it's just, it's such a funny, you're like, yeah, you have them for a really long time. And you realize that you have them through the meat of your life, through the like.
Right.
But it never forgot. You know, I talked to Kira a bunch on that job. That's the only thing I remember verbatim. And I was like, you're hilarious and very honest.
That is hilarious.
That is hilarious.
It's so funny how we always have just like takeaways that are so vivid and it's like the one thing, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that happens a lot with people or jobs or whatever. And like you spend so much time and then you just have like this one
little
takeaway.
nugget.
Yeah. And you're like, it's that we never get rid of our kids. No.
And you know, maybe it's just stickiness, right? We're just not going to get divorced and we're not going to get rid of our kids. We're just going to stick with it.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, it's also grounding to have someone, I would imagine for you to have someone that's known you through the progression of your career. And it's probably very
and
little.
growing up.
Yeah. And it's probably very little, like, yes, you have a career and you've done all these incredible things, but it's probably very little about you. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how people look. I don't think this is just me. I've talked to friends who are in the same situation. You know, regularly you think you're never going to work again, and oh my God, and blah, blah, the sky's falling. My husband will just turn to me and be like, oh, quit. Like, get a job at the grocery store. I don't care. And I find that simultaneously comforting and absurd. Because I'm like, no, this is all I know how to do. I'm a storyteller. But what strikes me, to be honest, since this is the only thing I know, that's my normal. What strikes me as incredibly challenging, and my heart just goes out to folks. I'm sure, Rachel, you've been in this position too. Like, I've been on shows with people who went from nothing to famous in 8 months and never again know what it's like to date someone who doesn't know who they are first. Right. And that must be enormously hard. When we both met, we were strangers. We were equally strangers to each other. And I can't imagine what it's like to go out with someone knowing, and maybe this is just the world now because everyone's got social media and
right.
But I don't know. I just don't know how you, like, Rachel, were you already like established in your career when you met your partner?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had to think about
not her daughter's father.
Baby daddy. Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Yes. Yeah. We're not together now. But
okay.
When we met, I had already been on a TV show that kind of set everything off. And so, yes. So,
and you met on a movie.
We met on a movie. And he had done Star Wars. So he was like,
So he's an actor.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
maybe, and does that feel like more of a level playing field? Because it's like we're both in this weird business.
I think there is, and before him, I had dated my co-star on the OC, who we kind of came up together with,
Right.
So that was like, we're both experiencing the same thing at the same time.
Cool.
Which I found very supportive and helpful. And then the relationship that followed was with my daughter's dad. And we came into the movie and he was already very well known for Star Wars. And, I had my own success. And I think I will say, like, dating, I always say this. And I'm like, people are like, don't date, an actor or whatever. There's truth to that, of course. But, but like, also, don't do it. And it's like, well, no one really understands, like, when you're like, I'm going to be at work for 16 hours or like this or that. And like, no one can kind of wrap their head around it in the same way if they're in a completely different field altogether. So I did find that helpful. But then again, I'm like, it'd be really nice to date like a nice doctor. Like, her husband's a doctor.
He's not nice though. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I think, it's just really interesting because the more I've done it and I've had my fair share, it's always kind of worked better for the circumstance. But I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, does it ever feel to you, I guess if you're dating people who are kind of in the same world, that would make a lot of sense to me. Like if you went on a date with someone who's like, hey, what's up? I'm a carpenter, but I remember watching the OC when I was, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that kind of disparity might be challenging, at least for me, to navigate.
No, I know what you're saying.
Well, you also get kind of guarded of like, what does this person want from me?
Sure.
Like when someone has an equal level of success, I think it makes it easier to be like, oh, they're genuinely just interested. They don't need anything from me. I'm not like, but I've witnessed it with her where even people with high levels of success, it's been very clear to me, they had a crush on her before, like they, like, there was some sort of something that they're fulfilling by getting this date.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I mean, again, because also they probably think they know you in a way that they don't. Because they know a character. I mean, even just people on the street do that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I'm more naive because I don't even think of it. Like, I don't think of, they knew this or they think because they watched this or whatever. I don't know. But I'm a little.
That's also your memory problem. Like, you forget that you even did anything, But, like, I've witnessed it.
This episode of Broad Ideas is brought to you by Maybelline. For over a century, Maybelline has provided accessible makeup to give everyone the self-confidence to express themselves. As the #1 makeup brand in the world, Maybelline has the platform and the power to make an impact from the inside out. That's why they've created Brave Together, an initiative designed to help those facing anxiety and depression by funding free professional one-to-one support so that no one has to struggle alone. Mental health challenges like anxiety or depression can be so difficult to manage on your own. I came into my own bout of depression. I guess it was a few years ago now, and having support and not having to go through it alone really got me through it. So I think it's amazing what Maybelline is doing. If you or someone you know is experiencing anxiety or depression, Maybelline New York is funding free confidential support. Text TOGETHER to 741-741 or visit Maybelline.com/bravetogether to learn more. Shout out to Claritin for supporting this episode and providing us with samples. I never had allergies until I got older. You know, so many things come when you get older. Things that I was not really looking forward to, like allergies. But thanks to Claritin, I can get through my days. Luckily, for those of us who live with the symptoms of allergies, we can live Claritin Clear with Claritin D. This double-action combination of prescription-strength allergy medicine and the best decongestant available relieves sneezing, a runny nose, itchy and watery eyes, an itchy nose and throat, and sinus congestion and pressure with ease. So I was having the most watery eyes. I started Claritin D, and oh my goodness, what a difference. I can actually see and not carry a tissue everywhere I go. So are you ready to live life as if you don't have allergies? It's time to live Claritin Clear. Fast and powerful relief is just a quick trip away. Find Claritin D at the pharmacy counter. Ask for Claritin D at your local pharmacy counter. You don't even need a prescription. Go to Claritin.com right now for a discount so you can live Claritin Clear. Use as directed. Broad Ideas is supported by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe believes you deserve a little vacay every day, not just once a year. Get on Tropic Time with bright and refreshing smoothies, tropic bowls, wraps, and flatbreads from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Summer mocktail smoothies are back and more refreshing than ever and only here for a limited time. Head in and try the fan favorite Island Punch, Mango Berry Cosmo, or Watermelon Mojito smoothies today. You are on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Fan fave summer mocktail smoothies just hit the pool deck at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I love the watermelon mojito smoothie. I'm not a big fan of alcohol, so these mocktail smoothies really hit the spot, especially on a hot summer day. Enjoy sunshine by the spoonful with the acai bowl from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. One bite of the tropic bowls from Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and you'll instantly feel like you're cabana-side. Visit one of Tropical Smoothie Cafe's 1,400 plus locations or order online or through their app.
Sorry, that memory problem thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't think of myself as an actor anymore. And I mean, it's very interesting because I look back on that world.
Yeah.
You guys are both giggling. Wait, I want to know why.
Because you've been on gargantuous, humongoid shows and very successful. And you're like, who? Yeah.
But it feels like somebody else. Yeah. And part of we're doing this Prison Break podcast. I'm rewatching the show.
Right.
I don't.
Do you not remember any of when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot I ever did that.
I don't recognize that girl.
Yeah.
She's so young. She's so new in the business. She's didn't start off having kids. I had a kid in the process of the show, but it's like watching another person.
Yeah.
And I think about all those things that happened and the red carpets and the award shows and the blah, blah, blah. And it feels like I find myself thinking things that people have said to me in the past. And I'm like, don't say that to actors. Do you know what I mean? And it's just very odd that there are these acts to your life.
To your life.
Yeah.
I have a question about this because you're rewatching it, right?
Yeah.
So I did a rewatch podcast of The OC.
Okay.
For me, I was 21 years old when I did that show.
Yep.
Okay. I'm 42 now.
Yep.
Am I 42? Yeah, I'm 42.
I was like, I don't know.
I love that you look to her.
I have to for everything. I'm like, I don't even know. And in watching it and watching myself that young and thinking about all my choices and my life and whatever, I went into a depression. Like at first I had a very hard time watching it just because it brought all that up. And I didn't even aside from like not remembering anything a lot from the show because of my memory, it was more like watching myself at 21, watching myself and my boyfriend at the time, that we were together for a while. And like everything that was happening in my life at the time, like it just brought up so much.
So much.
It took like a big adjustment. How has it been like, so it's like kind of the same thing, right? Like you're watching it and you're like, who is that person?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I could not have done this until this year because the show, I couldn't get beyond the parts that were toxic and painful. And so I couldn't have done this. Paul Edelstein, the guy I'm doing the rewatch with, the podcast, he brought me the idea a few years ago. And I just sort of like hemmed and hawed and had excuses and whatever. And what I've found in the last few years as I've been writing and directing and like doing scripted podcasts and stuff and just moving into non-acting parts of our storytelling kind of world, I'm realizing I walk through doors that are open because of Prison Break and because of Walking Dead.
Right.
And so I'm now looking back on those shows with so much gratitude. And like, I'll walk onto a set and the actors that I'm directing will be so open-hearted and so like, come on, let's do this. Because they know I've been right where you are. I know how tired you are. I know that you're in the last half a mile of this marathon. I will not let you look like an asshole. And I'm so deeply grateful for that faith that they're putting in me, because I also know what it's like for a new director to show up on set and to be like, oh God, what? Like, let's hear your ideas. Like, I mean, it's like, we know the show, we know what's going on. Please stay out of our way. Don't be an asshole to my crew. Let's go. And so I've developed this. I've always been grateful for my career because I feel like any day you get to say you're a working actor is a fucking miracle. But it's given me the sort of medicine to go back and be able to look at those early projects despite, like, look, the show was on in 2005, like, despite the rampant misogyny, despite all of the challenges, despite being on, on a show like that, the only woman around.
I was always jealous of your part on that. I'm just going to say it. It's true. I was always like, that could be me. You were like the girl that I was like, I could like that. I want to do that. Like you
there
really...
were two edges to that sword.
Yeah.
There were definitely two edges to that sword. I mean, like, I've had an actor on that show spit in my face. And I was like, holy shit. And like, we will get there on the podcast. We will talk about it someday. But there were things. Like, I would go home some nights and have to spend an hour talking my husband out of going to hospitalize somebody. And it was just, and some of the guys were great and some of them were totally gentlemen. But when you go from 0 to 60,
holy crap,
nobody knows who I am to I'm on the carpet of award shows, what's that thing they say that like any fool can handle adversity? You want to test a man's mettle, give him success. Like, it was, and again, so much of it was also great and made lifelong friends and all the things. But I wasn't ready to look at it, Rachel, for exactly that reason, because I didn't want it to send me into a spiral of like, what did I let them do to me? What did I let them say to me? What did I put up with? What did I not report? What did I, all of that.
Wow.
That's painful. Now. But you had to process it before being, like, otherwise it's like a spiritual bypass, right? If you're like, okay, just go to the gratitude, all these doors open. It doesn't work unless you move through the pain first and look at that and process it and heal it. And then you get to extract the gratitude and continue on your way. But it sounds like you 100%. Did the healthy version of that.
Well, and what's interesting is now kind of encountering it, what I see is like, oh shit, this was really fun. Like some of this stuff was really great. And some of it was, you know, a little bit what you're talking about with the OC is that everybody at the same time, there wasn't like a famous person in the cast who was like old hat. I mean, yes, Stacy Keach, but like Stacy Keach also could have cared, does not care about fame one little bit. He's like, give me a play, leave me alone on stage. Yeah. I'm going to go live in Poland. You're like, great, sure. But we all did get to experience it at the same time. And that was really cool. And television at that time, you were on TV then. Like the idea of serialized television was new. And it was a really cool thing to be a part of. So now going back, rewatching it, there is fun. But then there's also, like we did an episode with Jessalyn Gilsig and she and I talked about like, it was 45 minutes of like, woman in Hollywood, here's what's different, here's what's not different. Interesting stuff. And I'm like, God, how did I, we never had a scene together, right? Like I didn't have scenes with women on the show.
Oh my God.
I was just like, fuck, what a missed opportunity. Like, I'm now looking to cast Jessalyn in everything that I direct. Because I'm like, I have to get on a set with you and like get some real work done.
Right.
It's crazy.
I just love that you're directing too. And that Rachel and I talk about this so much. We're like, how can we create? How can we have a voice? How can we champion women? How can we be storytellers in everything we're doing? It's not limited to the permission of other people anymore, which I think is brilliant. Yeah. And like the fact that you've gotten to be on such incredible shows, at least for us as the audience, and then learning from that and being like, well, what's next? What's more that you have to offer, right?
Well, first of all, I think part of what's great about the podcast and even social media revolution of it all is that it does allow us to have our own voices. And for all of the challenges of social media and for all of the, vast proliferation of podcasts, for women to be able to speak to other women about things that interest us is a huge revolution. I mean, most of the women that I know that I grew up with that are my close friends right now are all talking about perimenopause. And 100% of our information is coming from podcasts by women who are a little older than we are going, hey, no one fucking talked about this. Right. No one did anything. Here's how to save yourself, ladies. And we're just texting each other these like, have you heard about this one, this doctor and this blah, blah, blah. And it's alleviating the stress and pain and suffering that the generation ahead of us had. And so I think what you guys are doing, like, I mean, it's kind of revolutionary. We were never given this kind of a platform.
Right.
And I love
that's
it.
Very true. And also when you said that, what just struck me is like, which makes me want to celebrate is what I hear in that is there's no more gatekeeping. It's not like, oh, I have this thing that I'm holding on to because of fear of, it's like everybody is so much more collaborative. And especially when you throw, and not to discount men because we love men, but when you throw women in and watch them start to share their resources and their information, and it's kind of a new thing.
It is. But yeah, and a lot of it is what we do on our podcast is like always trying to break through, like talk about the things. And, just like you're saying, if you're hearing about perimenopause on like podcasts, it's like, yeah, well, we should be talking about absolutely everything and nothing should be taboo, especially this day and age, where there's just like, I think, and especially after coming out of a pandemic and like all of these things and everyone feeling so isolated and so alone, and then just being able to just be so free with anything you want to hear or talk about, even to a fault sometimes, as I've learned. But
have you gotten into trouble for things you've said on this?
I mean, yes. And like, granted, whatever. It's usually like sex related. And I'm just like, come on. I grew up in a very like loving, open household where like, nothing was taboo. So I speak freely. Great. And now that I have a mic in front of me doing it, sometimes.
I mean, people have taken jobs away.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
will
because
say it again. Yes.
Yeah. I said.
Because of things you've said about sex?
Yeah, well, I used a specific word. And like, you know, when you think you're just talking to friends.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about like sex positions. And I said like.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I was like being funny. And I'm like, I like to be manhandled, you know, or something. But I said manhandled. Okay.
Yeah,
and so they took that word.
Oh, Jesus.
And they were like, oh, that's not okay. You know, but the best is like the response, even from like her 80-year-old mother being like, who doesn't like to be manhandled?
Yeah.
Yeah, the that's not okay police are a tricky thing.
Yeah, right.
Because actually from the beginning with the sort of the internet and the people who choose to put opinions on it, I feel like it's the difficult thing is that people who, like, I don't know anyone personally who like leaves reviews or who does that. Like most people I know, what their opinions are private or we share them in conversation. And so I think what's tricky is there's a specific subset of people who are going to go on Twitter or who are going to go on forums or who are whatever and sound off in a specific way. And that's great. I'm all for the free speech of it. But I think the mistake can be in then thinking that they're speaking for the majority, because it's like, no, the majority of people are busy. And I've never left a Yelp review. I've enjoyed restaurants and told friends of mine or like, you know, gotten like a worm in the salad and been like, all right, so don't go there. That's a bad idea. But
oh God,
I'm not someone to be like, this is my experience and everyone should do what I do. That's not. And so I think there could be something. The what you can't say police sometimes sounds so loud. But then you get into your own life and everyone that you actually know who's a real human is like, I don't give a fuck. It's fine.
Right. Say what you want to me. You're safe. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have to agree with you. Just, you know.
Which is totally fine. Yeah. But just like the freedom to talk about.
Yes. I agree with you 1000%. It's like, it's just the same as like the news. It's like my mom will watch so much news and be like, everything's horrible out there.
Well, it's
and
all fear-based.
I'm like, but when you really go outside and interact with the world, right, on a daily basis, in my experience, people are pretty kind. You know, like, yes, at large, there's huge problems and we understand that. But it's like so black and white. Where if you go outside right now and you go to the store or you go to, you know, down the street, people are generally pretty nice.
And in complex ways. My husband told me an interesting story. He was just back east and he ran into an old friend of his who was raised in a very, very small town in, I believe it was Vermont. And she's got I don't remember, one parent who's white and one parent who's Asian. And the parent who's white is the one who's from the small town. She has since moved to this small town with her kids. And she's like, the racism, you guys. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
But when the power is out and I had 2 little kids and it was just me, those same people left me cords of chopped wood to make sure that we had enough heat. And she's like, so it's complicated because on the one hand, I'm furious at language that's coming out of people's mouths that they don't even maybe know. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a whole generation of people who used to say Oriental and you're like, no, that's off the table.
We've learned that.
Yeah. And like, but the memo doesn't go out to everybody on the same day. So sometimes you got to let people know and whatever. And she's like, there's language that's coming our way that I don't like. There's attitudes coming our way I don't like. But in this small community, understanding that in the winter when the power is out, people have needs. They don't call and ask. They just show up. They dump the wood. They make sure that we're okay. Food shows up. You know, like it's complicated, our relationship to each other. Sometimes we are both kind and unkind at the same time. Right. And that's that's more than you can put in a soundbite.
Yeah. That is more than you can put in a soundbite.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's so true. I know you were about to say 2 things.
2 things can exist at once.
She says that every day.
I do. I do. Because I feel like
Are you a Gemini?
No, I'm a Libra. So I'm like,
okay. Okay there.
Yeah, it's true. I think I think we should ask a few questions to lighten it up before we let you
And
go.
I realized I was supposed to talk about a podcast and I totally forgot. I'm doing a podcast. Go listen to it.
You talked about it.
You talked about it.
We've talked about so many things that are so deeply important in life, and we love it. Grateful to you guys for this.
Oh, we're grateful to you.
Grateful.
This is
good for my.
We love it.
Good for my sisterhood heart.
It's good for the soul.
Here, which are they the top?
So what are these questions?
We just like to have fun. We're picking
great.
randoms.
You pick randoms.
Okay. We'll just end on a light note.
Alrighty.
If you had to get hypnotized for one thing, what would it be?
For what, to fix a problem?
Sure.
Who knows? I don't know. It's up to you.
If I had to get hypnotized, it might be to stop the voice in my head. It might be to quiet the inner monologue.
Yes, cool. We love that.
A zombie apocalypse is coming. Which 3 famous people do you want on your team?
Are you talking about the people I've already been through the zombie apocalypse with?
No. Because this is a real one.
I've definitely been through the zombie apocalypse.
This is a real one.
Real one.
The only reason we say famous people is because then everyone will know who they are.
Know who they are. Yeah. I mean, John Bernthal, we did go through the original apocalypse together. And I feel like he's relatively well prepared for that one. I would like Meryl Streep because in the apocalypse at night, when we've boarded ourselves up, we're going to want a storyteller who can tell us amazing stories. And I feel like
love it.
He's got all the incredible stories.
Yes.
I don't know why this just popped into my head, but Terry Crews. I feel like Terry Crews would slaughter the zombie apocalypse. I feel like he'd be great. I don't know why. I've only met him once. He was really nice.
He just popped in your head for a reason.
I'm not good at pop questions. So
no, we call that an intuitive hit.
Yes.
Sorry, Terry.
If you could live in a movie, which would it be?
Oh, maybe Water for Chocolate.
Oh, I used to love that so much.
That's such a good movie.
Seen it in so long.
Yeah, this wonderful little village full of chocolate and boats and Johnny Depp before he got weird.
Yeah, love Johnny Depp before he got weird.
Oh my God.
What's the first thing you thought about this morning?
Breakfast.
Always good. Your favorite junk food?
Hula hoops.
What are
those British hula hoops? They're the little British. They're chips but they're
they're rings.
They're circles, and you put them on your fingers and you eat them off your fingers. I haven't had them in 20 years.
Oh my God! And that just
we're just taking a deep dive into my subconscious.
No, we're
mind.
Really getting to know you.
This is the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hula hoops. You can't even get them in North
Fruit
America.
Loops. I was like,
I don't know what hula hoops are. I'm not
British.
Familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your biggest phobia?
This sounds so weird. I have this lifelong fear that I will die homeless and addicted and alone on the streets.
Oh no.
So I don't know if that's a phobia, but I don't know why. My whole life, that's my fear.
We've been avoiding that. That's what you've been avoiding all life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Working on staying away from that one.
Yeah.
What's the most, I don't know if I should say strangest or memorable or funniest fan encounter you've ever had, if you can think of one?
Oh, when I was in 8th grade, I did Cinderella. Yeah. And I played Cinderella. And after the show, we did a performance for preschool. And after the show, this little girl comes up to me and she tugs on my little white glove. And I said, yeah. And she goes, you look different in the movie.
Oh.
And I was like, you're the best, sweetheart. You are the best.
It's so cute.
You never topped it.
No,
you
can't
haven't
top that.
No,
you can't top it.
It's amazing.
No way.
It's amazing. If aliens landed on Earth, who would you recommend they talk to?
My husband.
Oh,
I feel like
he's been waiting for them.
Oh, he's been waiting.
He's been waiting for them. And somewhat believes that octopi are already aliens.
Already aliens.
Well, they look like it.
Well, and I think potentially no one has figured out what branch of evolution they came from. They're not related to anything else. So he's like, well, they must have dropped here from outer space. So.
Oh, I want to do a deep dive on that. I'm fully I need to read about that.
So to speak.
Yeah. I just found out I was an alien.
What?
I told you. The Rh negative blood, they're like, we can't track it from here on Earth. And I was like, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
See if you're related to an octopus.
Probably.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What's the last thing you Googled?
I have no idea. The last thing I Googled,
She's
I don't
like,
know.
are octopus aliens?
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I check my search history?
Yeah, you do it.
Oh, sorry. Late night with Seth Meyers, because I wake up and I watch a closer look every morning to see if the world is still standing. I can't take news anymore because it's just too, we're all going to die. We're all going to die.
Yep.
Everybody's screaming at each other. So I wake up in the morning and I watch the Stephen Colbert monologue, and then I watch a closer look. And I'm like, if it's not in there, it's going to be okay. I might turn on the news a little bit, just like public radio driving around, but I can't sit down and watch. So, Seth Meyers reassured me that we've all survived
the eclipse.
And that's kind of all I needed to know this morning.
We love Seth.
Yep.
That's smart.
He's amazing.
Yeah. I love it.
Great.
What is your death row last meal?
Oh my God, we ask that on our podcast.
You do?
Do you?
Yes. We ask that too.
Oh my God.
But
okay,
we
that's
thought,
appropriate.
Because we're a show about
break.
prison.
Yeah,
exactly.
We have
That's
death row. So the death row last meal. I would Hawaii plate lunch. So like Kahlua pig, mac salad, teriyaki sauce, the Korean bean kimchi situation, and maybe like a couple of kalbi ribs. I want to go full. I grew up in Hawaii. Sorry.
Oh,
caveat.
you did? Oh.
So I want to go full Hawaii plate lunch.
Hawaii.
Yeah, a little bit of poi on the side, and then some
Wow.
haupia for dessert.
Well, that's amazing. And the perfect thing to end on.
Perfect thing to end on.
Yeah.
You guys are so fun.
Well, you're awesome. And congratulations on your podcast. That's super awesome and
you.
exciting. And we're so
appreciate
happy
it.
you talked to us today.
Yeah, so happy. You're just an absolute delight.
I appreciate everything you guys are doing. Really,
Thanks.
I'm very grateful for it, and I'm very grateful for the conversation.
Us too.
Yeah, and I hope our paths cross somewhere down the road of life in person.
Rob and I are both in florals today.
We matched on purpose.
You should have put this on. Rob loves putting my
shoulder pads.
By the way, everybody, just before we started recording, Rob walked into the room with one of my jackets on.
It's a big fluffy one.
He just really likes to put on my clothes. Olivia is texting and not talking to us.
What?
We just swap bodies.
Yeah. Did you guys Freaky Friday right now?
What if that happened in real life to you?
With who?
Yeah, it depends on the
who. Let's pick someone.
That would be a fun, prank.
How? Explain this to me.
Prank?
Explain this to me.
Try to trick someone that's happened, that you guys switched?
Yeah, and not say it.
Gaslight them so
yeah,
hard.
if Rob came and all of a sudden I was acting like you and you were acting like me, but we don't say anything and do it for the whole day. And you're like, so Rob, and I'm like,
Rob,
and I'm
where's
like,
my
Rob!
matcha? Rob, where's my matcha with the straw?
That would be the best.
Yeah.
That would be the best prank.
Oh my God, Rachel and I, no joke, experienced a glitch in the Matrix.
What?
Do you remember when we were at the airport and we looked out and there was no...
Oh my God. Oh my God. I thought about this the other day and I meant to bring it up to you again.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing.
Tell the sandwich story again?
Let's tell it.
Let's do the turkey salami.
Hey,
People loved that story.
people do.
People did.
I know people
Are
wrote
you
in
being
and
sarcastic?
No.
people sent pictures of their turkey and salami
Are you
sandwiches.
kidding me?
Yeah.
See?
This is a thing.
It's food, only food. No, we're at the airport and I look out no, there was a buzz flying.
Oh, I thought you were like, no, this one's going to be good.
Hold on. We were at the airport and I look out the window and I'm like, Olivia. We're you look out it's surrounded by water. None of it is moving.
At all.
At all. Okay?
It looks like a painting.
It looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Like it was concrete. But it wasn't concrete. It was for sure water. And there were birds. Like there were like land. Like the water did not move.
No. And she
We
looks
need
at
an
me,
explanation.
and she goes, are you seeing what I'm seeing? She didn't explain it at all. She just is looking out the window and goes, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And I look and I'm like, what the fuck?
I thought it was just me and I was like tired and I'm like,
it was one of the scariest feelings.
It was,
because we're like looking around like, is anyone else seeing this?
Are you going to look it up for us? You're like
What are you
specifically
gonna
looking
look
at
up?
like what body of water at the Oakland airport. No, he's going to say what would make water stand still?
It was completely, there wasn't
Like
a,
that, you're just guessing what I might be.
it was not a ripple.
painting. There was not a ripple, but it looked like there were ripples. Like it wasn't flat either.
No, it wasn't flat. There were ripples.
There were
but
ripples
they were
in
not
it. Like it
moving.
looked like how you draw an ocean or something with waves. Like you saw that pattern in the water, but the water wasn't moving.
No, it wasn't moving.
Thank God I have a witness.
It was one of those moments where you're like, am I in the movie?
Am I okay?
Is this the part where the thing is going to come up from the
are
thing?
we all going to get swallowed and
Yeah.
the world is over?
Yeah. Is Godzilla coming up?
Do you have answers for us? What are you Googling?
Glitch in the Matrix?
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing
was-
I've ever seen.
Scary.
Yeah.
Well, it is a bay.
I get that.
So, and?
Well, like lakes and stuff.
There's still movement.
Sure, I understand that.
It looked like concrete. Like it did not move.
And it had to be weird enough that she says, do you see what I'm seeing? And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. Like I could have been like, what? The
we
bird?
do have a lot of airport experience.
Yeah. I just feel like if the source was different, I might take it a little more seriously.
If it was just me, I understand your position. She saw it too.
It was real.
Okay.
It was real.
creepy.
I almost wanted to ask the people in line
Me
behind
too,
us,
so
like,
bad.
do you see what we're
Do
seeing
you
right
see
now?
what I see?
You guys were still on mushrooms, though?
Rob.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Do you have a mushroom story?
No, but I have an interesting story. Quick.
What?
Little tidbit that I found fascinating. So I was watching this Joe Dispenza thing, and he was talking about if people that live in like the unexpected, like that don't know what's going to come next. It's not like you have this goal and you're like, this is how it goes. Here's the path, right? But people who live every day in the unexpected, like, who knows what's going to happen? I don't know how it's going to happen. Like in that state of manifesting, right? They studied their brains, and it's the same as people on psilocybin. And that to me is fire. Because you can do that to yourself and live. No, hold on. If you live every day in the unexpected, like who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to unfold? Da, 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 right? So I get on this trip and my mind is blown out of my head. I go to yoga and she goes, set an intention. If you don't have one, why don't you choose and play with expecting the unexpected?
My favorite is that she just described it as fire.
You're hanging with Elliot too much.
It's actually my brother. But
That's interesting.
don't you find that interesting that their brain is the same as someone on psilocybin?
I just want to keep hearing you say psilocybin.
Psilocybin.
Is it a mushroom?
Doesn't interest you at all?
Look at Rob.
I mean,
I zoned out a little bit when you were talking about it.
what?
I zoned out a little bit when you were talking about it.
You zoned out?
You don't want to be your brain to be naturally on psilocybin?
No, not really.
What? Why?
I don't want my brain to be having like a mushroom trip.
Naturally?
Yeah, no, that sounds not fun. I'd rather live in reality.
I always feel like I'm on drugs.
That checks out.
I can't believe you want to live in reality.
I'm like the most sober person,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Except for the two people in the room that are actually sober.
Right.
Well, you know what I mean. Someone who's not sober is what I mean.
Are you sober right now?
I told you I always feel like I'm on drugs.
But
Maybe
she's the
it's 'cause
most.
you live in a state of the unexpected.
But she's the
Yeah.
most sober
Do
person
I?
ever.
No, you like to know. You like to follow the knowing. I want to
Oh,
know.
the bouncing ball.
Yeah.
Can you guys wink? When
I like to do this though.
yeah,
sit.
Natalie can't wink.
She can't
Really?
wink.
Yeah,
Curl your tongue.
yeah.
Mhm.
Some people can't.
Yeah,
Can
it's
you
a
whistle?
genetic thing.
I can't do the flower tongue.
You whistle?
I used to whistle better before braces.
She can't whistle or wink.
She can't do either?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
And
Can the
she gets
boys?
mad when I try telling her that she can learn how to wink, and then she gets mad when I try to.
What does she look
get
like
her-
when she tries?
She does both eyes.
That's cute.
I find it hard to believe that you can't wink, though.
Well, you think she's faking her
Yeah.
attention?
I don't know. No, I don't think she's faking it, but
You're like, I just don't believe her.
I don't know. I don't think she's trying hard enough to wink.
And you want to live in reality?
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
No, of course not.
No.
Who wants to live in reality?
I have a question.
Oh, uh-oh.
The theory is all the realities that could exist are happening at the same time, right? In the quantum field. So, like, that would mean there's a version of you based on your choices that is living that out right now.
What?
What's the question?
Do you buy into that? So, like, say, for instance,
Do you believe
for
in
me, there's a version that never got sober. And they're in the quantum field,
Like
that
somewhere out
Well,
there,
it's-
that
it's-
part of you is living?
yes,
Like there's
also-
another world.
It's also infinite because it's every single choice that you
every
made
choice.
goes in different directions.
It goes in different directions, and we're only experiencing this one based on the choices we made. So we're just experiencing this choice, but there's a version of me and you in all those other choices being lived out at the same time. But we can only experience this one based on this choice.
Where?
Yeah, where is it happening? I
don't
don't
know
know. I
where
don't
it's
believe.
I don't know where it's happening. I
I don't
don't have
believe
all
it.
the answers. You don't buy into it at all?
I understand the theory. I don't think that that's what's happening.
I understand the theory. I always think about like if you made
Mm-hmm.
one separate choice, like where?
Yeah, but where does that energy go?
It goes nowhere because you picked the other thing.
Or do you think like it'll live out in like your next life or something?
I mean, that's like
Mhm.
harder to me to say is a thing than like religion and like God.
Oh, you think that's harder?
Yeah, you're saying like infinite realities versus just like,
I have a harder time getting behind that there's other realities.
yeah,
going on.
there's a being.
Oh.
Like, it's much more complicated, at least, than
Yeah.
religion. I mean, and I guess it's an idea that hasn't been around as long either. Like, God and religion has been around for a very long time.
Correct. But if you think about what we're doing to AI, right? We're implementing it with all the
It's
information
different
that we have.
simulations and
Like that is almost like the same theory as like a God. We're implementing all of our information into these creations, right? And then if we go wherever we go and they're left on this earth to do what they do,
but there's consciousness and stuff happening within that.
that's what I'm saying. So to me, that's not that hard to place God into that because you're like, oh, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, to me, like computers were just invented in like the 80s.
Right.
So that would then be me saying that I believe that time started millions of years. Like I believe in evolution and biology and how old the earth is. Like then you think simulations only happened
No, they
at
didn't
the
only.
very
What do you
tip
think?
of all of this?
No, I think our brain is a computer.
What?
Yeah. I think
And
our-
that everything that we know,
hardwiring, the installation, all of the things, it's just made of.
but everything we know of the past then is just like made up story.
No, because that all existed. But when we awoke to consciousness is when we started tracking it. We couldn't track it before it existed, right?
Yeah, but you're saying this happened in a computer
Our brains are fucking computers.
They're fucking computers.
But we just invented computers.
This is what I'm saying. We just caught on to it then.
Out of like hundreds of millions of years of the universe existing, we are just catching on now.
To the computer aspect. Yeah, because that's how it's moved forward. We keep moving forward in civilization. We keep gaining more consciousness. And
do we ever get to the pinnacle, like the point, and then there's no further to go?
I don't know what happens after, but I think that we are definitely AI in a human form. I'm not on mushrooms right now. I swear.
It is that kind of conversation.
Does that change how much you value things that happen within the world then?
No. No, because I do think spiritually we are put here for a reason. There was something that we came here choosing to learn.
Yeah, computer program.
Valuable. Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's mechanical.
Yeah, well, that's where I choose the disconnect from it, because I think if I start to buy into that, it feels
mechanical.
Yeah,
it's
too
not.
mechanical
I don't mean
for
it
me,
mechanical.
and not enough meaning behind existence. If that's the case, that it's just like we're running these simulations to see what happens when global warming happens and how humans react.
Yeah,
and running this one for this and this for that. Like, to me, then we start to feel more like pawns than actually living and existing in life.
I don't think it's a simulation like that, like it's being run to test us. But I think that we did make an agreement to come here and choose to learn things with a live beating heart, with emotions, with all of those incredible things that we're here to experience. So I don't think it's a disconnect of like being mechanical or simulated in any way.
But we're a computer.
I also think this planet, this world is an algorithm, just like social media is teaching us, right? We look, we go, oh, we want furniture. It starts feeding us furniture. Microcosms of people that build furniture, blah, 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 blah. It feeds us that, right? I think the same thing is true of life. It's an algorithm, and your experience is based on what you're looking for. And if you want a different experience, you have to change the algorithm by looking for something different.
Yeah, I think the reason I have a hard time with that is it feels too convenient. Like, if you existed 75 years ago, you would not be talking about computers or algorithms to understand the universe, because they didn't exist.
Consciousness wasn't there yet. That we're speeding up in consciousness.
No, I know, but like your grandparents wouldn't have had the opportunity to understand that because computers didn't exist yet and algorithms weren't a
but
thing.
They were living out a living algorithm.
You're just saying they
wouldn't
be able to. They wouldn't be able to compare it to that.
That's already been going on the whole time. If you're the kind of person that's always looking, oh, people are always out to get me, then you're always going to be looking for things that are out to get you. You're going to experience that. If you start changing what you're looking for, and you start being like, people are always kind. I'm always looking for the kindness in others. I just think they're so kind, and I'm always looking for it. You're going to find it. Right? Because you changed what you're looking for.
Yeah, I also think, though, that comes a little bit from a place of privilege to think that you just, like, I think there's people that have a tough fucking life.
100%.
That, like, could be as positive as possible, and bad shit still happens to them. And it's not their fault because they weren't.
I believe that, too. But then there's like Viktor Frankl, where man search for meaning, where you're in the most insane circumstances. I'm not saying it's going to physically change your actual environment. It's going to change your experience of your environment, which is then going to change your life. So the circumstances could be exactly the same, but how two people experience them are completely different. Mic drop. So that was Rachel's bedtime story.
Yeah. Good night.
I had someone honk at me yesterday that made me really annoyed.
What happened? How do you control your road rage?
All right, well, tell me if...
Did they recognize you?
No. So I was trying to park on a side street, and driving on the side street, there's a car in front of me that like pulls into a driveway. I keep driving.
Yeah.
And then there's a spot open on the right. So then I go to start parking in the right. That car that pulled in the driveway speeds up behind me and starts honking at me because what I figured out is they were turning around so they could get to that spot. But it was like half a block down. How am I supposed to know that?
Okay.
Like, I just turned onto that street. You're not even close to it. And then they just lay on the horn and like block me as I'm trying to go into this parking spot.
Oh, that's aggressive.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, she gets it.
She feels me on that.
I felt that.
That is aggressive.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell just happened?
He feels so validated.
Yeah,
His
like,
annoyance.
Fucking new.
Well, I was by myself in the car and have this like insane person honking at me.
Just laid on the horn.
Yeah. I was just like, what the fuck?
What did
And
you do?
I just drove. I was like, all right, take the spot. I don't care.
Did-
and I
oh,
just
Did
drove
you roll
away.
down the window and like talk to them?
No, I was.
You just
like,
drove off?
Yeah, I don't need to deal with this.
You didn't say that. I don't need to deal with this.
No,
No?
drove away and found another spot.
No.
Some people like to like get into it.
Yeah.
What?
Someone we know just went through that. So our friend's boyfriend parked his car. People were like acting really weird. And so
What do you mean people were acting
there was
weird?
like a couple people there. Like
Where he
his
parked?
car somewhere. And these people were like three guys were like acting weird.
Mhm.
And he was like, hey man, like, is everything okay? Like, are you guys all right or whatever? And then I guess it got like they were weird. So he got confrontational with them, left, went and did his thing, came back. They had totaled his car, totaled it, slashed all the tires, broke the windows, like,
But what do you mean he got
the car.
confrontational with them?
like go somewhere else, guy. Like was like flexing on them,
Mhm.
like trying to scare them away or something because they were acting shady. And so he was like trying to, you know,
Mhm. And they
assert authority.
and he
and
came
they-
back and the car was just annihilated.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you don't do that.
You do not do that.
You don't do that. You
This
just
isn't a
let 'em-
friend that this happened
That's why I
to.
just drove away. I
This
was
is not a friend
I'm not
that
going to
this
deal with
happened
this.
to.
Right.
Whoever this person is clearly is not thinking logical.
Correct. That's the way to do it.
That's crazy. But you
Crazy.
don't do that.
No, you don't do that. You let people be crazy and you move on.
I thought I was going to see these people. I didn't see what they looked like, but I was going to Maru. And it happened. And they were parking near Maru.
Oh,
And
that's
then I
awkward.
went, and then I was like, well, I'm going to like, then everyone that was coming after me, I was like, I wonder if this was the
I wonder if these are the hunkers.
people in the car.
He's like the caper, the hunker caper.
Do you
Wow.
ever do that to people?
Hunk?
No.
Hunk?
Only if they're like
Only if
gonna-
it's
Yeah, only if they're
absolutely
like about to
necessary.
hit you or they're,
yeah.
yeah.
I am definitely like the last to honk. You know, it's like only.
Yeah,
if
I don't even
absolutely
like to honk that much
necessary.
if someone's not going at a light.
No,
I'll
I
give
don't. I
I'll
wait
give 'em
patiently.
a second. Or if I do, it's like a little beep.
It's a little tap.
Yeah.
beep.
I'm just like,
No,
hey.
but I used to have like boyfriends. If I was driving, they'd be like, "Go honk your horn," da, 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 like so aggressive, and it's like,
Yeah.
just let me drive.
Well, that's how it is when I drive with you.
I will say, if someone honks at me, it makes me want to like
Fight.
I'm at it. No, yeah. If I'm at a green light and someone honks,
Makes
and
me want to go slower.
I'll just like
That's Rob in a
stop.
nutshell, by the way.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys a secret?
Yeah.
So everybody that knows me really well doesn't like it when I drive.
Nope.
Okay.
Do not.
They don't. They
I don't
never,
let her drive.
Like the people closest to me don't let me drive.
Is it because of rage? You get me
The
to drive?
exact opposite. I drive like an actual grandmother.
Mm.
Like I'm very slow and like I'm just like, go ahead.
You let every car in.
Every
and-
car in. It takes me forever, whatever. Recently, I do have some other close friends that it's like never really been put in that position. And I didn't tell them the truth about me, that you probably don't want to drive with me. And so I drove them. Well, Nicole
Yeah.
and Nadine,
Oh, they
And-
don't know.
they don't know.
They don't know.
They know. I think they know, but and I didn't tell them. So as I'm driving and doing all these things, like, guarding them and like not going at the right time and like all this, in my head, I'm like, they're thinking it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to tell them.
Was it never addressed?
It was never addressed.
I can see this for you.
I never let her
Nobody
drive.
does.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
But it was just funny because I didn't.
Leah is a daredevil.
So are you.
No, I'm
not as much as Leah's.
I'm more cautious.
Unhinged.
What, you're like a 7 and she's a 9?
No, I am definitely more cautious. Like, I'm responsible. Like, you trust me driving.
Yeah, but sometimes you go a little fast for me and you drive a little aggressive for such a small little person.
But you already got a big car.
Yeah, but even if I was in a big car, I'd be like,
have we ever told you her wave runner story? Her ski-doo story? Her jet ski story? We're in Costa Rica. And we're all going out, and the waves are really big, okay? And they're all on the beach, and we have to, like, take them past the break to go. Mm. And the guys who are giving us the wave runners are like, okay, just like when you get to the wave, just gun it a little so you can, like, make it over and go, right? So we all do it. I have Leah and Briar on mine. We make it no problem. Everyone else, we're all out there.
Wait, you, Leah, and Briar on one?
On one. It was big, and Briar was in front, and Leah was behind.
Okay.
Why do you ask like that?
There was a lot of people for one. I guess
she was 4 at the time. Yeah. She was little.
Right now, 3 to a wave runner would be a lot.
Yeah, she was a little kid. Yeah. Okay.
This is the explanation I needed.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
So then Olivia's the last one to go, other than my brother, who's on the beach just helping the guy and helping everybody get out. Okay. My brother on the beach. We're all out there waiting for Olivia, like a ways out. We're like, okay. And they tell her, just gonna when you get to the wave so you can make it past it. And we're all out in the ocean. And Olivia goes. And she full throttle punches it as hard as you can. And all of us are out there, and all we see is Olivia on her wave, and it goes like straight up in the air, like we're at X Games, like fucking just straight up. And smack down onto the thing, and we see my brother and the dude on the beach like, oh shit! Like, oh my god! And we're all out there. We're like, holy fuck!
Did you fall off?
No, she stuck the landing.
And then you just kept going?
No, well, hold on. She sticks the landing. We're all out there.
I remember the feeling.
And she's there, and then we see her. She's gonna try to catch up to us, and she's like. Granny on a thing. She got so scared. So she comes out at like 2 miles an hour, like.
And they're like, come on, and I'm like,
And there's no more waves at this point.
No more waves.
So,
I was past the waves, all right.
I was terrified.
Oh my god,
it was so shocking.
It's the most epic visual like you've ever seen in your life.
John said the guy renting the things
high-fived him.
He was like, whoa.
It's our favorite story. I've seen something on Instagram, people filming like someone who did that. Like, and they sent it. It's fucking Olivia and my brother. We die. It was. Oh my god, you would have appreciated it. We still all talk about it.
Oh, I want to go back.
Guys, that felt good. Cathartic.
So cathartic.
Olivia. Fucking like X Games over here. Oh, jeez.
But thinking about that, I'm like, Briar was 4. That is so ballsy.
She is a little adventure seeker.
But it's adventurous of you, too, because, like, even thinking about it, I'd be like, oh, I don't know.
Really?
Well, you also won't go to the movie theaters.
She's always goes to the movie.
No, but she does. She's very fear-based in her mind.
Fear-based, so that checks out.
I'm always like...
She does do that.
Check
like,
your exits and...
Yeah. She's
check your exits,
definitely way more fear-based.
Yeah.
No, we went out. And it was great. We had
I
life
just
vests
mean
on.
her doing that and
I
you
know.
saying you wouldn't do that really doesn't hold a ton of weight.
I understand. I was just thinking of Shepherd.
Well, you got very combative with...
What? I'm very much...
You got very combative about it when I suggested.
No, I didn't. I said I go to the movies. I do go to the movies.
I don't.
I just went to the movies.
Briar's never been to a movie.
That's kind of fucked up.
It's weird.
Yeah, that is.
It's not on purpose. It's just
Why don't you take her to a movie?
we can go to a movie. She also doesn't,
Ask
love
for it.
movies that she doesn't like know what it's gonna be because they scare her.
But what about like Kung Fu Panda 3 and like
4.
we're gonna
Four.
we're gonna watch that at her school for spring movie night.
oh,
It's not a theater. Yeah, I know it's a thing.
She's missing out.
I agree. I want to take her. I don't
She's
love going to the
9.
movies. I know. I don't love going to the movies, so it's not like first on my.
I don't understand how you don't love the movies.
I know, and she just got her. Oh, yeah. I don't love going to them. I don't know why. I just don't. I'd rather be
You don't
at home.
like going
cozy.
out in public anyway.
I don't like
so
going to my house.
I understand why.
But you don't like the popcorn and the candy and
I love the popcorn and the candy.
that doesn't motivate you
She
to
doesn't
go?
like leaving the house.
You know,
Do you think you're a little agoraphobic?
I wouldn't call myself agoraphobic. I have
If-
no problem going places at all. I don't.
You're just not motivated.
I'm not motivated
Yeah.
to watch a movie, even at my house. Like to watch a movie, I need someone to be like, we're watching a movie. Do you know what I mean?
To manhandle the situation.
Yes, I do. I need someone to like motivate it. Then I'll watch movies. I'm telling you.
But most, what percentage of the time you leave the house is for
Briar.
duties surrounding Briar?
I mean, mostly.
95?
But I know I do errands all the time. I love an errand.
Yeah, but that's also Briar.
Not always.
No, but you're very
Okay, we're not going to count
motivated by.
errands. We're not going to count errands.
Yes, I leave the house for Briar. Correct. Yes.
She will rally. She will camp in a zoo. Like
I
But I
did
think-
camp in a zoo.
But I think you might be more, you might
Yeah.
be agoraphobic if you didn't have Briar as the reason to get you out of the house.
No, I'm not agoraphobic. That's not the right word for me because I leave the house.
I think my mom might be a little agoraphobic.
I could see your mom being a little
Mhm.
agoraphobic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not that.
I can see you getting there.
No, Rob, I'm not that extreme. Jesus. I
I can
did.
see you
I
getting there.
camped at the safari park with 200 other Girl Scouts.
Yeah, with Briar.
That's fun.
I'm saying,
Briar?
yeah, you were down.
Anything
what
for
it
my
has to do-
kid.
yeah.
I will go anywhere.
I agree with that. I'm just saying you remove that. I think your motivation to leave the house ever goes way, 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 way down.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, if it doesn't have to do with Briar, it goes down significantly.
Yeah, it's a 95% chance no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's unrelated.
Very true.
There's very few things that will get me out of the house willingly.
Yeah, chain.
Fucking.
Oh, yeah.
God.
You've been to 2. You're.
That's true. You have been to 2.
Jesus Christ.
We had a blast the second
Oh my
one.
God.
You guys really did, didn't you?
It was an
Those
experience.
arcade games.
Yeah, but it either has to be Briar.
Whatever tail you're chasing or Briar.
I don't chase tails.
Frontal tails.
Ew.
Oh.
That's just, what if that's the new term?
Can you keep that in? You find a way to say it.
Disgusting.
Find a new way to say it.
Please,
I
God.
can't find a new way
Rob
to
just
say it.
coined frontal tails. That is horrifying.
Yeah,
Ew.
it's gross. Ugh.
That makes
Well,
me
males,
sick
they
to my
call it
stomach.
chasing tail when a man chases a woman.
Yeah.
And when a woman's chasing a man, it's frontal
It's
tail.
making my tummy hurt. That's just not a nice expression.
You know what's not a nice expression at all is chasing tail.
Yeah.
No, it's not great either.
It's really,
I'm sure it's not
it's really
appropriate.
gross.
Do you use it often?
My tail? I don't.
Your frontal tail.
Ew.
Ew.
That's so gross.
You're wagging your.
So gross.
Well, that was a doozy.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody.